And you have tuned in to Open Line. We're so glad that you did. Chuck along here with attorney Kevin Kennedy from the Kennedy Law Firm. This is one of my favorite hours when we spend with Kevin, because I know a lot of people have legal questions out there, and you're always wondering, who do I ask? And is it going to be expensive to ask? And I'm not even sure how to ask. The best thing about being in the comfort and convenience of your own home, you can just call.
So true.
Number's right there, 737-7587 is the number to call. Get on the line with us when you have a question or a comment, even if it's for a friend or a family member that you just want to ask the question for. This is the place to do it. It's Ask an Expert. So we're going back to the lines right now. We do appreciate your patience. We're going to, let's see, Lucy is on the line with us. Lucy, thanks for calling. Thanks for your patience. And do you have a question or a comment?
Hey, y'all. Yes, I have kind of a question comment. Mr. Kennedy, last year, didn't the Tennessee State Legislature change the laws that took effect January of this year that make it harder to sue a nursing home for neglect and abuse? And I'll hang up and take your comments.
You are very good. I love to hear people have a touch of sophistication about them because they understand that it's the legislature changed the law. Listen to this. Every time the legislature meets, they change a law. Well, who is working all the legislators? They are lobbyists. Do you know who some of the biggest lobbyists, most powerful lobbyists in the state are going to be? The health care, that's the doctors, and the nursing home industry. Well, if they're there, don't you think they're all the time pushing legislation to help protect their industry? So you did very good, and that's what we're going to continue to see. And that's why I also love to take this opportunity. Talk to your state representative. If there's issues bothering you, talk to your state senator, because they do make a difference. And sometimes we've seen people that never got anything done through the system, but you know what they did? They were smart enough to call their congressman, and the squeaky door does get the oil, and there's a congressional investigation on these state offices. And guess what? They get some attention, they get some relief. So yes, that is true. Every year, it's harder and harder to bring these. There's more restrictions. And remember this, when they restrict the lawyers, they've restricted the average working man, because he's got no justice unless he's got a lawyer.
All right. So, Lucy, we do appreciate that question.
Thank you, Lucy.
Absolutely. So, back to the lines. Torian is on the line with us. Torian, good evening. And do you have a question or a comment for Kevin?
Yes, sir. It's regarding child visitation rights.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I haven't seen my kids over 7 years, and they're in California. And every time I call them, they tell me that I have to search for the mother, and she blocked me from all social media accounts. And they tell me I have to go look for it myself, but that's impossible, really. So I don't know where to start. And I'm in Nashville, of course.
Okay, well, here's some idea, and I hear where they're coming from. They have new techniques that some of the law firms, and of course my organization has. People always say, well, golly, how can we find this? So we have what's known as a people search through my organization. It's very expensive for us to get access to, but it's beneficial because we have people that run and hide. And so that's one thing that you need to consider, is talking to someone about who has the availability for the people search. And even like through our organization, they can find we look up Chuck. We know where Chuck's lived in the last 15 years. You know what else finds out? Who is Chuck's neighbors? Wow. And they'd say, well, Chuck, the neighbors are going to tell everything. Does Chuck have a black Camaro? Does Chuck drive a Corvette? Is there anyone else coming in there and out of there? They've got their numbers to talk to them. So you can find out a whole lot. It's very sophisticated, and we are in the information age. So everything is more complex and more complicated, but the lawyers are always going to be more creative.
All right, so we do appreciate the question there, Torian.
Keep
absolutely.
pursuing it.
Yeah. So if you are just tuning in, we welcome you into Open Line. It is Ask an Expert night. We are asking the attorney, and the attorney, of course, is expert Kevin Kennedy from the Kennedy Law Firm. So if you have a legal question, comment that you've been wanting to ask, now is your opportunity. You can see the number on your screen. It's 737-7587. We do want to go back to the lines right now. Marty is on the line with us. Marty, thank you for calling in and watching this evening. Do you have a question? Are you with us, Marty?
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I turned 18 years old some time ago, and I can't read and write, and I went to Detroit to take the test, and I couldn't take the test, and they turned me down. Is that against the law? Is discrimination because you can't read and write?
Okay, well, in the state of Tennessee, every state has different rules and regulations for as far as driver's license. That's a state issue. Now, I can address Tennessee. If a person had difficulty, learning disability or whatever, and they needed some assistance, Tennessee does provide, and that's a great question because a lot of people say, I've never passed the test. Well, guess what? They have people that will ask you and read the test to you and make some exceptions. You know, again, there are so many programs out here that would benefit your family. And we know there's a lot of people that can drive great. They may have had some kind of learning disability in school. They may have been in special education. They may be a little slower, but that does not disqualify them from getting a driver's license or even a CDL. So yes, I would try the state of Tennessee, and thank you for that question. There's a host of people that are confronted with it.
Absolutely. So we do appreciate that, Marty. Going back to the lines right now, Damon is on the line with us. Damon, do you have a question or comment for Kevin Kennedy?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I have a piece of property in Hickman County that is started as a resort area.
Yes, sir.
And so they charge you an assessment fee every year.
Yes, they do.
And they have not kept up the roads and thing, and it's just as junky as it can be.
Yes.
Muddy and even to get to your property. Do you have to pay the assessment fee even though you keep the taxes up?
Well, you're doing good, and we've heard about very similar places, perhaps even the one that you have. And it's almost a con game because they make all these representations. We're going to make a pool house. We're going to have this if you'll pay these fees, and they don't hold in their end of the bargain. And you might pick up the phone and call the Tennessee Real Estate Commission, and you could file a complaint with them and really Tennessee Consumer Affairs. The truth of the matter, you bought that within the state of Tennessee, and you don't think that they have given you or they have misrepresented, and let the state go in and see if they can assist you. And then ultimately, yes, you can always get a lawyer. You know, I can already anticipate their lawyer's going to say, if you don't pay this, we're going to sue you, we're going to get a judgment, and we're going to file a lien on your property. Well, they're playing hardball, so I'd get my own lawyer.
All right, we do appreciate that call, Damon. Thank you for watching Open Line this evening. You know, one thing I was thinking too, so often you feel like you're the little guy. You feel like you're the average Joe or Jane, and you're thinking, you know, I've got this situation, whether it's against a big hospital, an insurance company, something like that. So what does the average Joe or Jane do in that situation?
Well, they're watching this show, and they're learning what to do. You remember I parked valet at one of the big hotels, and they wrecked my truck. Well, I got out. I said, guys, what are we going to? They said, we got plenty of insurance. Don't worry about a thing. So we left. I saw them on Monday morning and asked, and they said, the hotel doesn't do the valet parking. They want to tell me some other company out of state. And I said, no, no, no. I did business with you. So we went to the head person, and I left a voicemail. And this is a great question. And when I got him on the phone, he said, Mr. Kennedy, we have looked you up on the internet. We know who you are. And yes, we're going to cover that. And I said, what does the other guy do when they give you the runaround? Then that's when you have to have some knowledge, seek some knowledge, talk to a lawyer. I'd even hire a lawyer to send them a letter, because most of the time, even when we send a letter, it brings everybody to reality, and it's the fear of the unknown that makes people do what they are supposed to do. And so they don't really know what the Kennedy Law Firm is going to do. So they say, okay, what's it going to take just to settle this?
All right, makes sense. All right, we're going back to our lines right now. Pam is on the line with us. Pam, we're glad that you're watching. Do you have a question or a comment?
I have a question for Mr. Kennedy.
All righty.
First, I wanted to thank him for all the valuable information he shares with everybody.
Thank you.
The second question I have, I know you're very busy and you have a huge law firm. You know, a lot of people work for you, but if someone wanted to get in touch with you personally to go through you, how do we do that if we call your office? If we just ask for you, would they let us talk to you, or do we have to kind of go up the ladder through other people?
Well, the truth of the matter, I talk to people every day. Some days, lots of days, many days I am in court, but people, yes, they call and then they can make appointments and come see me, and they can make time to talk to me on the phone. One of the things that I've always tried to do is to try to keep an open door policy, to try to talk to everyone. And of course, that's not possible some days because I'm out of county or out of state or wherever. And if it's a matter, we've got some of the most competent. My brother Bruce has been there many, many years, and we've got some brilliant lawyers that I would trust. In fact, even, you know, I have a lot of businesses. When I have business, I have to have my own lawyers. I don't represent myself. And so if I'd have them represent me, would I not have them represent Chuck and others? But yes, ma'am, if you need to get in touch with, you can get in touch with me.
And part of it, and I think, you know, again, just to the secret, part of the secret to your success is that you have the experts that know the fields, they research the fields, they know what they're talking about. So whoever they're able to talk to, I mean, it makes a difference. In that environment, I had one of the judges one time comment, because they went out and did a bunch of good things, I don't know, raised money for fuel, and he said, I just want to compliment you on. And I said, well, really, Judge, I didn't have anything to do with that. But I might have created an environment where people do care. And we preach people who care. And we want people around us who care. And that is a great environment for people to call in and say, you know, even if we can't solve that legal issue or it's something that we couldn't fix, we still are trying to help. All right, that's always the best case. All right, we're going back to the lines right now. Ron is on the line with us, and Pam, we do appreciate you calling. But Ron, do you have a question or a comment this evening?
Yeah, I've talking about some crazy laws. I heard the nursing home thing.
Yes.
I found something crookeder than that, workers' comp in Tennessee.
Come on, brother. You know, the truth is on the workers' comp, they've come and the legislature has taken lots of rights away. So some of these companies or insurance companies do the worker wrong. They say, well, how about getting a lawyer? Well, so many of those rights have been taken away from the lawyers. So I heard you loud and clear. Lots of people hear that, and we'd love to see some reform in workers' comp to help the workers even more.
Absolutely. So we do appreciate that call, Ron. Thanks for your patience as well. We've got a lot of you on the lines with us, but we do need to take that old commercial break.
Yes.
But be patient. Come back with us. You're watching Open Line.